Blessed Day Reflection by Abijah listeners. My name is Abijah Grant, and we are here to reflect on our life journey. We will be discussing topics related to self awareness, self improvement, and mental health. Also, the purpose of this safe space is for us to be free to discuss the ups and downs, celebrate the wins, and talk about ways to improve the lows. So, welcome to this podcast, and I hope you gain something from this time we share together. Hey guys, welcome back to Reflection by Abia. It is your girl Abia Grant. I hope everyone is doing well and having a blessed day. At the time of recording this is June 2nd, and we are here showing up. And guys, you cannot believe this. My computer just restarted. Why it restarted, I have no idea because my computer is not telling me what's going on. So yeah, we're dealing with that. So everything I felt like I said in the last recording, I scrapped it because I was just like, where did I leave off at? Like I know where I left off at, but to pick up is just I'd rather restart again. So we're here and we're showing up for episode number 21. Welcome back to the podcast. We're just gonna go with it, deal with the life punches and all the rest of those things, and just continue the course because life is about disruption and it's just going to be what it be. But guys, this episode I wanted to speak to you about basically how to monitor your stress and how to deal with like stress management when life is feeling very overwhelmed and feeling that sometimes we are putting too much pressure on ourselves in regards into our just experiences, things that may be going on in our life in general. I know for me, last week I was speaking to you guys in regards into reflecting. And what I was reflecting about was in regards into my YouTube channel. As you guys know, I put information out there, and honestly, I feel like what I've been putting out there has been mediocre in regards to it's not it's me, but it's not truly what I want to put out. Feeling that I need to cater to, I guess you say, the masses. Not, I don't want to say cater to the masses, but feel like if I did things this particular way, this will be my results. And pretty much the outcome really not being true to what I want it to be, or feeling like it's real. And it's very important for me for whatever that I am showing you guys or talking to you guys about is that is true to who I am. Um, and now, in regards into the stress management side, is feeling like I need to meet my own personal checklist. And feeling that if I don't achieve something by this particular point, or put out something by this particular point, or do something by this particular point, that it's causing harm to me or I'm not doing enough. And I feel that I've been reflecting on that this week in regards to saying to myself, Abia, life is just not about all the things that I guess I don't want to say all the things that you are doing, but I'm trying to find the right wording. I don't feel that I feel life is supposed to be enjoyed. And when you are not enjoying what you're showing others, then you really need to figure out one, if you need to change it up, two, if you need to just stop and not do that because you can't, it's not bringing happiness. Because at the end of the day, it's like Whatever I do, whatever I share with you guys, I want to feel joy behind it. I don't want to feel like I'm doing something just to do it. Also, I want to feel that whatever I'm putting out there, that it's useful information and I'm just not talking just to talk. You know what I mean? So, like I said again, I've been doing some reflecting, and trying to just also work on my stress management side of things of that, oh, feeling like I need to do something by this particular point and putting that pressure on myself. And there's, other things that I'm doing in my life as well too. So I want to be able to achieve other goals and not just center myself around this one thing and feeling like, okay, that is who I am, or that is the all to be all. So, with that being said, as I mentioned, we're going to talk about stress. I'm going to get into the definition of what stress is, and basically, is the feeling stem from our emotional or physical discomfort to our changing environment. Now, as we know, stress can be on both sides of positive and negative. You can have stress that is helpful stress, and then you can have stress that is burden stress. And where I feel like I'm at when it comes to, like I spoke about with the YouTube, is I'm starting to feel the burden of, okay, again, things are not working the way that you want them to work. But also I'm understanding that I have to cater it to what I enjoy. Now, when you're going through the positive stress factors, the helpful stress, you may feel excited, you may feel thrilled, you may be feeling like, okay, your emotional state or your physical state, you're having fun with that particular type of experience. But a part of this also says that you're not fearful of the outcome. And that's where I come in, and I have a little bit of a 50-50 split when it comes to this. Because I feel that although stress, you are feeling that this situation is bringing you happiness or joy, you're feeling thrilled and all the good feelings. I feel at the same time, depending on what that particular experience you're going through at that time, that positive stress can feel overwhelming. And I spoke about that last week. Let's take into consideration about like a positive outcome of, or a positive thing that you're trying to do would be like purchasing a home. And I spoke of last week of how me and hubby tried to purchase a home and all the pitfalls that we were falling into, or things that were coming towards us that we were trying to duck and dive. So even though, yes, the positive is a positive thing for us to purchase a home, to find someplace that, we feel safe and comfort and all the rest of those things, there was still some burdens that came along with it. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I feel like, again, depending on the scenario that you're dealing with, there may be times where you're not worried about the outcome. So now it also says when your stress is positive, you don't feel like you are threatened by this situation, or you do not feel like you need to avoid the situation. And I do feel like, again, when the experience is with no risk, I guess you can say, you don't have to worry about what may come towards you, what you may be threatened by, or what you're trying to avoid. Now, with the burdens of stress, just some of the feelings that you may be feeling and the emotional states that you may be feeling is agitation, frustration, overwhelm. And that is what this podcast is about. It's about the feeling of being overwhelmed. I feel like overwhelmness is the top of the factor. I feel like overwhelm can be on both sides of the fence, whether it be positive or negative. Feeling that, okay, is what I'm doing enough? Or feeling like, did I make the right decision? That feeling is a feeling that thing doesn't go away until you get the results that comes with the end, whether it be a positive situation or negative situation. But just to get into more of that feeling of burden, you may feel mountains of fear, you feel like the weight of the world is on you, and you feel worn out. And I want to say that is where I was at this week, is I was feeling worn out. I was feeling like, why am I doing this? This is not bringing me joy. I'm a big advocate of whatever I do has to bring me joy. If it's not bringing me joy, then I need to question myself and the reason why I'm doing it, especially if it's a hobby. If a hobby should be bringing you joy, and if it's not, again, you need to take a step back and figure out what you're trying to do. Let's go ahead and take a quick break. Hey everyone, thank you for tuning into Reflection by Abijah. Feel free to check out the podcast Instagram page and my personal page, simply.abijah, also on Instagram. The links will be available in the show notes, so let's get back to the podcast. So, as you guys know, I'm always a big advocate of just therapy. I feel like therapy is one of the most important tools that you can throw into your toolbox when it comes to understanding stress, understanding how to manage it, understanding your feelings and all the things that, may be coming into your life. Like, for instance, for me right now, I want to push myself more in my work environment. And right now, it is causing me a little bit of stress because I'm hoping that I'm making the right decision for myself. I want to make sure that I am pushing myself into the right direction that is not going to feel like I'm overwhelming myself. So it's like, for me, it's on both sides of the fence. I don't want to stress myself out because I don't want to be overwhelmed, but I want to give myself enough stress that I feel like it's challenging at the same time. You see what I'm saying? So it's a very much like you're on both sides of the fence, and I'll be honest with you guys, it's very frustrating. It's very frustrating because I'm the kind of believer, like, I don't like to coast. I feel like coasting just doesn't bring me, well, I want to, because I stopped right now, just to pause. Coasting in regards to when it comes to work, that I want to be challenged and I don't want to sit there twiddling my thumbs. But other things I do want to coast about. Like, I want to coast about life. I don't want to sit here and deal with the stresses of life and all the challenges and things that may factor in. So again, we come back to, it depends on the situation, on what you may want to be stressed about, what you want to be a challenge. Let's go ahead and get into some ways in which you can pretty much monitor your stress and have stress management. And these tools that I'm mentioning to you guys today, these are something that I use often, whether it be daily, whether it be weekly. And I'm the kind of person, again, I just do my research. I do my research because, again, like I said before, I want to know what's going on with me, and this is these things that I use and I'm going to share with you guys. So, one of them to gauge your stress level is called the Perceived Stress Scale. So, basically, this is a stress assessment of 10 questions that helps us understand our thoughts, our feelings over the past month. So, pretty much like last month, or it could be your current month. Depends on whenever you're taking a particular test. Now, the way this test works is just it gives a scale of 0 to 40. 0 to 13 means that you have low stress. 14 to 26 means that you have moderate stress. And then 27 to 40 means that you have high perceived stress. So now I went and I took the test this week because I was like, I feel like my stress level is at a high. I do feel like I'm working on it, but I just want to know and gauge where I'm at. You understand what I'm saying? So that I can just know and work on the tools on which is going to help me, check myself and everything. So when I took my test and I added up my score was a 16, meaning I was monetarily stressed, which makes sense because again, like I said, there's a lot of changes that's going on in my life. Um, but what I like about the questions is that it kind of asks you, okay, do you feel like this stress level you weren't able to correct, or do you feel like this particular experience you were able to correct, or do you know it goes through not just how you're personally feeling at this moment, it's going through how you have responded to that experience. I honestly think that this assessment is very useful for you guys. So I am going to be posting it down below. I use the website is State of New Hampshire website, and I used their questionnaire because their questionnaire was very just easy breezy. Questions were understandable. The way I use this particular assessment is I don't wait until I'm actually stressed to use this. This is something that I do pretty much on a weekly basis just to check in with myself and see where I'm at and everything. Now, one of the other ways that you can gauge your stress level is monitor your heart rate. Now, you could do this with a smartwatch or a fitness watch, and we know we see them out there. They have them at the different stores, and you like for instance, I use the Samsung one, and I monitor my heart rate. Under normal circumstances, your heart should be beating between 60 and 100 beats per minute. And you are monitoring it to make sure that pretty much your heart is not beating more than that. Meaning that if your heart is beating more than that, means that you're under a lot of anxiety, you're underneath a lot of stress, your heart is racing faster than what it needs to be racing. Now, when I had checked my heart rate this week, my heart rate was, I believe, 56 beats per minute. And what they do say is that the lower your heart rate is, the more efficient it works. Another factor that goes into there as well is working out. This is the reason why they talk about like working out and getting up exercise or walks or whatever. This actually helps keep your heart rate low, actually less than the average 60 to 100 beats per minute. I believe in my research, they even said that people who do like vigorous exercising, like running and things like that, theirs can be 40 beats per minute. So that is just useful information for you guys to know. I don't want you to think, oh gosh, if my heart is rate is not between 60 and 100, then things are not looking good. Now, I'm a big advocate of going to the doctor as well too and getting a physical and things like that, just so that you could check in with yourself and see where you fall. Your doctor is able to do like blood work and things like that. Like I know when I went to the doctor this what 2 or 3 weeks ago when I took my blood pressure. Sorry, not just my blood pressure. She took blood. She checked for all signs of, deficiencies and things like that, or what have you, and gave me tools to work on so that I can, be in good health. So now one of the other ways that you can basically gauge your stress level is through blood pressure monitoring, and that is where you monitor your systolic pressure and your diastolic pressure. So systolic is your pressure in your arteries when your heart contracts and pushes the blood out. And diastolic pressure is your arteries when your heart is at rest between beat. Now, again, like I said, I like to give useful information. A elevated basically blood pressure is 120 to 129. You have here stage 1 hypertension, which is between 130 and 139. Then you have stage 2, which is 140. And then you have hypertensive crisis when you're at a 180. Now, it does say here a ideally. So ideally, they say that your blood pressure should be between 122 to 74. A lower blood pressure does not mean that anything is wrong. Like I monitored or I checked my blood pressure this morning. It was 112 over 73. But I've been active and things like that today. And again, blood pressure also considers what you're putting in your body. So you have to consider about, meats and salts and things like that. So again, take into consideration what you are eating as well too when you are checking your blood pressure, or if you're feeling like you're stressed and things like that. Food does is a big factor. I remember at my doctor's office, this is something that she went over. She wanted to know what I was eating on a daily basis. Was I eating vegetables and things like that? So this is something that you want to monitor as well too. Our life and who we are as human beings, everything works in conjunction with each other. Everything is tied to each other. So we just want to make sure that we are treating our bodies the way that it's supposed to be treated. And we're not just worried about on what's on the outside, because as you know, guys, what's on the outside can be totally different than what's going on in the inside. So we want to make sure that we are doing what we have to do and taking care of ourselves, so that we can live the life and enjoy all the things that we want to enjoy. Hey everyone, thank you for listening to the podcast. So let's get into today's word. So let's go ahead and get into today's word. Today's word is nominous, and that means awe-inspiring. And some of the synonyms that I have for this, and I found this to be like really like I just picked this word out of the positive word list. It wasn't like, okay, this was the word of the day. I just scrolled and I stopped, and this is the word that I fell on. So, I have here some of the synonyms mean spiritual, divine, holy, sacred, and devotional. And the spiritual part stand out to me because I find myself to be very spiritual. You guys, I don't follow a particular like religion per se, but I feel like spiritual, just the being affects all different parts of our life and how we just move. It's like we believe that everything works in conjunction with each other. We believe that we have faith in all these other factors and things like that, and I feel like it's just very important that we hold on to that spirit. We hold on to that thrive. We hold on to that passion, and we just find joy in everything that we are succeeding at, and even the things that we're not succeeding at. We are not giving up, and we just continue to push forward, because at the end of the day, guys, just remember, when you give up, and this is again more for me than maybe for you, when you give up, it's just you don't know what the outcome can be, and sometimes you just have to go about it a different way. So, guys, that is where I'm going to leave this week's podcast episode. I hope that this topic was useful for you guys, understanding stress management and just some of the tools that I'm using in my everyday life. Like I said, I am a big advocate on checking in on yourself and making sure that you're good. At the end of the day, we want to do this because if we're not, then that means that we're going into the world and chaos. We are interacting with our family in chaos, and this is the last thing that we want to do is cause disruption where there doesn't need to be disruption. I'd rather live my life in joy. I rather live my life in harmony. I'd rather live my life in peace than be stressed. Yes, stress is a factor of life. It's not something that we can avoid, but there are ways in order to, monitor it and to, create, I want to say, an ambiance for ourselves to monitor like your stress management or help with stress management, working out, taking walks. I know like yesterday me and Bay had went and took a walk to a park, and we just sat there and watched some children fish, and we just laughed and we just talked. Going to do an activity that you like. Just create some type of environment and peace for yourself that's going to keep your stress level down or going to help you manage your stress level. Life is not always about the grind. Life is not always about we got to hit this goal. Life is also about enjoying life. So I hope that you are, understanding that and you're finding ways in order to enjoy your life. Guys, just to let you know, the information that I went over in today's podcast, I am going to be listing down below as far as ways to gauge your stress level. I want to start putting this information on the podcast so that, again, this is useful for you. So I'm going to have the assessment test down below, at least the link and the definitions and so forth, so that you could be able to utilize this. And again, if you have any questions or you ever want to reach out to me, you can go to my Instagram for Reflection by Abijah. My email information is also linked down below. If you go to, I have just let you guys know, I have a link tree link. So in that link tree, you will hit on it and all my information there is listed as far as like the podcast, my Instagram, my personal Instagram, I think is listed there, my email address. So you can always reach out to me if you're looking for additional information or if you're just looking for somebody to talk to and everything. Because we all need a friend. All of us needs a friend, guys. So I will be your friend if you don't have a community and everything like that. But again, I hope that you have enjoyed this episode. And again, that you found something useful out there. Stay blessed out there in those streets, guys. And make sure that you treat others kindly out there in those streets. And God willing, I will see you guys in next week's podcast episode. All right, guys, have a good day. Enjoy the weather. It's going to be, if I didn't mention it, it's going to be 84 here in Jersey today. So we're going to enjoy the weather today. So enjoy, have fun, and God willing, I will see you guys next week. All right, bye bye. Thank you for listening to Reflection by Abijah. Let me know in the comments section what you thought about today's episode and share the podcast with your friends and family. The link will be available in the show notes.